What is up, everyone? Master Fox here, and we are talking about the North American World Championship Qualifier Top 64. So first, let's just take a look at the breakdown. We have 35 Necros decks, 13 Burning Abyss decks, 7 Clifford decks, 3 Ritual Beast decks, 3 Shadal decks, 2 Tellarknight decks, and that 1 Hero deck. And so just looking at these results, we can see obviously the event was heavily Necros dominated. Over half of the top 64 was Necros. But what's very interesting is Burning Abyss had a very strong showing at this event, taking the second spot in terms of the decks represented in the top 64, which was surprising to me because going into this event, I didn't make a predictions video, but in my mind I was predicting around half the decks would be Necros in the top 64, top 32 or whatever. But then I thought that the second top deck would be Clifford. But Burning Abyss doubled up on Clifford with 13 to Clifford's 7. What's even more surprising was the finals was a Burning Abyss mirror. So in the end, Burning Abyss won the whole thing. And I would have never been able to predict that from the get-go. I would have thought Necros would have won the whole thing. And then another contender that came out of nowhere was Ritual Beast. Ritual Beast, in the matches that I watched, essentially cut straight through these Necros decks. The Ritual Beast versus the Necros matchup was a very good matchup in favor of Ritual Beast. And I feel like the heavy Necros representation really helped Ritual Beast kind of make it through up to the top. And so Ritual Beast had a very good showing compared to other rogue decks like Hero and Volcanics. Volcanics didn't even make it into the top 64. So Ritual Beast tied with Shadal in terms of top 64 representation, when Shadal is supposedly one of the big 5 decks and Ritual Beasts are more of a rogue type deck. Also, what's interesting to note is the fact that both last year and this year in the finals, we had a mirror match between decks that were essentially TCG only. Last year we had the Hat Mirror in the finals, which Corey McDuffie ended up winning. And then this year we had a Burning Abyss mirror in the finals, which Noah Greene ended up winning. And so both decks, Hat and Burning Abyss, won't be available for Worlds. And that's something that's interesting because a lot of the TCG players that are coming in playing these decks will have to end up switching decks just for the World's meta, which some of you may know it's kind of a very unique meta. It has its own ban list, and the rulings are rather strange too because of the OCG, TCG. Sometimes they have different rulings, so a World will have its own set of rulings for certain disputed cases as well. And so it's a very different meta from what a lot of players in the TCG or even the OCG will experience. So players will have to practice a lot for that specific format. And it's going to be interesting to see what decks actually are played there and what will actually be very good there. What I'm thinking that will actually be very powerful now is seeing the way Ritual Beast performed in this event. I think Ritual Beast will be very powerful at that event because at Worlds, Ritual Beast essentially lose nothing. Yeah, I don't think there's anything between the TCG and OCG that Ritual Beast would lose. And then for Necros, Necros takes heavy hits from the OCG, but it'll still be a pretty powerful deck in Worlds, and I think a lot of players will decide to play that deck as well. And as you know, Burning Abyss is out of commission. Clifford's might be a pretty strong deck too, and so that's a good pick. And Shadals are heavily neutered from the OCG list, so I don't think we're going to see many Shadal decks at Worlds. As far as Tellarknights go, they are a solid deck, but they're going to lose 2 Rotas from the OCG list because Rota's limited in the OCG. So they're a little bit weaker than what we see in the TCG. And with the results that they have at events in the TCG being as kind of low as they are, losing 2 more Rotas will make the deck less consistent overall. And so I don't think we'll end up seeing too much of them at Worlds. Hero is kind of in the same boat as Tellarknights, although I think Hero is relatively better than Tellarknights going into the Worlds meta just because Heroes kind of can adapt pretty well. They can use E-Call instead of Rota if they have to, and they can adapt into that meta, and they're not really weakened either, and Dark Law is just Dark Law. So congrats to Noah Greene for winning with the Burning Abyss. It's a deck that I completely never thought would have won the North American World Championship qualifier. And I wish him the best of luck in going into Worlds in Japan. And that's pretty much it for this video. I think I'm going to do a deck profile of Noah Greene's Burning Abyss build, but I think that's probably going to be the general scope of my World Championship qualifier for North America's coverage. And so that's pretty much it. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you.